Hi guys, it's Ms.Autry here, and we're going to go through a little bit more on subtracting integers. I'm going to go ahead and review what we learned in class, and I'm going to start with doing the two-colored counters, and I'm going to be doing number 1. So we have -8 counters, so we're going to do -8 red ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so it says -8 minus +2. I don't have any positives. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to add 2 0 pairs to the table because I need to take away 2 positives. But in order to put 2 positives on the table, I have to put 2 negatives with it. So I've got my +1 here. There, and then a -1. That's my 0 pair. +1. And then my -1. So I've added now my 0 pairs. So I have -8 and I have +2 on the table. So now I can take that away. So I'm going to take that away and I'm left with, let's count it, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 negatives. So that is what we learned in class today. However, now we're going to use the rule to solve this one. We're going to add the opposite. So we first keep the first number. Then we change the minus to a plus. That's adding. Now we're going to add the opposite. So what's the opposite of +2? -2. Then we go back to the rules for adding integers. Yes, they're adding integers. So both signs are the same. So that tells me I add them together. And -8 and a -2 make -10. All right, and we got -10 using our counters. So we are correct. All right, moving on to example number 2. First, I'm going to model with the counters, and then I'm going to use the rule. All right, we have +4 to start with. So I put 4 positives on the table. And it wants me to take away 3 negatives. I don't have any negatives to take away. So I'm going to have to add 3 negatives to the table. But every time I add 1 negative, I have to add also the positive version of 4. So I have to add 3 0 pairs. Now I can take away my 3 negatives. And I'm left with +5. So now we're going to use the rule. Keep the first number and then add the opposite. So we add, and what's the opposite of -3? +3. So what's 4 plus 3? 7. Do I have 7 counters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, question number 3. -8 minus -2. All right, so we're going to put -8 on the table. And I want to take away 2 negatives. Do I have 2 negatives to take away? Yes, I do. Take away 2, and I'm left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 negatives. So let's go ahead and use the rule and see if it gets the same thing. All right, add the opposite. Keep the first number, then add the opposite. What's the opposite of -2? +2. All right, so now we go back to our integer rules. These are different signs, so we subtract. 8 minus 2 is 6. Who had more to start with? Negatives or positives? Negatives. And we have -6. All right, last one. Start with +5. Now we're going to take away 2 positives. Do I have 2 positives to take away? Yes, I do. And I'm left with +3. I'm going to go ahead and still do the rule for this one, even though I know you all know what 5 minus 2 is. But I'm going to show you that this rule also works. So we add the opposite. Keep the first number, and then change the minus to a plus. And then what's the opposite of 2? -2. Now the signs are different, so we're going to subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3. Who had more to start with? Positives. So it is +3. Okay, so tomorrow in class, we are going to continue to use the rule for subtracting integers. And have a great night. See you tomorrow.